What's up, you guys? It's Matt here. So I just got finished watching the entire AMA on YouTube, the Crypto.com AMA with CEO Chris about these overall issues, and it's great to be able to see that he comes on here and just talks about this stuff and actually answers the hard questions, the difficult questions that have come in, as well as live questions that came through YouTube and whatever other platform they were, on. So I wanted to go through detail of exactly what I thought about this and why I think crypto.com, I believe, will survive, and why I haven't wavered away from holding my CRO or anything on crypto.com. Because if you calculate how much I'm holding or how much I invested into it, we're looking at about $20,000 into crypto.com and CRO together. So it's definitely something that I've invested a little bit more than any other place that I'm invested in, including Coinbase as well, which is probably closer to similar to crypto.com there. But I do see them having success. So let's get into some different details. But before we get started, guys, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the notification bell for more videos like this one. Also, make sure you guys check out some of the links down below. It does help out the channel. And if you guys want to follow me on Twitter, you can definitely follow me on Twitter at Perry8K. Don't forget about my Patreon, guys. If you want to ask me questions directly, that's the best place to ask me questions. I answer every message that comes through. I try to get to it in a reasonable time frame, somewhere before 24 hours. But depending on if I'm taking a break online, like I did yesterday, you probably won't be able to reach out to me or get to me until the next day. But that's the best place to reach out to me is on Patreon. Anyways, let's talk about this, because crypto.com was definitely a main topic this weekend. I mean, I took one day off and all of a sudden everybody hates crypto.com. And I was like, what is going on here? Like, what are they seeing that I am not seeing? And there was nothing. It was just speculation. There's a lot of people that came on and was just like, look, if FTX crashed, then crypto.com crashed, or it's going to completely go bankrupt and they're going to lose everything. But I was just thinking to myself, I was like, they're in two separate playing fields. Like, FTX is over here, right? And crypto.com is over here. When it comes to the amount of users, it may seem that way with popular positions because they may not have the same liquidity as everywhere else, but they're definitely a bigger player than what people think. They're thinking that there's smaller players here. So anyways, they started this AMA with like more of an opening statement from the CEO. And he basically talked about the audit and how they're planning to do this audit on crypto.com, and that they already did this proof of reserves, which some people had questions about, which I will get into in a question that was asked, and he kind of addressed it as well before this. But he also went on to talk about the revenue, and in 2020, 2021, they generated over $1 billion in revenue for both of those years. They talked about the crypto.com DeFi wallet and how great that is as an asset, so that you actually understand that that's your cryptocurrency. It's not going through the exchange. I mean, you can go through the exchange and then link it directly to the DeFi wallet, and now it becomes your cryptocurrency rather than the exchange's cryptocurrency. So that's a way of easily transferring it to it without paying any fees associated with it, which is definitely a great thing. And whatever other chain you want to trade it on, if you're trading CRO, you can go on different chains there. So he definitely talked about that. But then we started getting into the Q&A portion, where this was probably the most important piece, because we wanted to see if they were going to be softball, questions. And they weren't, right? Instantly, the first thing they talked about was the difference between FTX and crypto.com. When you look at FTX and crypto.com, crypto.com doesn't do any lending practices like what FTX has done. Or what Voyager has done, or any other platform that has kind of collapsed has done. And you're also looking at way more users, way more different users, rather than just regular retail users. You have bigger spenders that are over on this platform in crypto.com. So it's more of an obligation to be one for one when it comes to your reserves. So a difference maker between it is you have one that's larger and has a bigger commitment, and you have others that are smaller and has a smaller commitment here, but still has a should have a commitment to the market and not decrease the market or collapse the market. You have 70 million users over here, 70 million people that can use the platform, not saying that they're all using it, right? Then they asked about their main income. Where's their main income coming from? And he said 90%, 90 to 95% of it is fees. So that's where you want to see it come from and not come from anywhere else to where you're getting money from lending out cryptocurrency anywhere. That's not what you're doing. So if it's all coming from fees, that's a good sign in my book. However, you want to be able to generate the amount of fees in order to create enough revenue. They did ask next about details of the audit. And they talked about how every coin or every coin on every platform should be matched by their reserves, and how it may take up to 30 days to get this audited complete. I can't even speak. Audit complete, and it may take a little bit shorter, but it depends on how many companies or how many exchanges are now doing audits, because they're forced to really do these audits, which should be a requirement to have these audits of their reserves. So they're going through that audit now, but they did release like a preliminary version of the reserve, which was the next question about Shib. They talked about 20% of the reserves are in Shib. And when he answered this question, he was shocked, because I guess some people don't understand what those reserves actually mean when it comes to a CEX, or should mean. If they're one-to-one, if they're truly one-to-one, then whatever people are holding on the platform, that's what they're reserving, right? So if people are holding 20% Shib, that's the people that are holding Shib. It's not, it's client funds, not their funds. So we went on to say that, and that's where that totally got misconstrued on Twitter, because there were tweets that were going out about them holding 20% to cover every 20% Shib to cover every cryptocurrency that they have. So if someone has Bitcoin, they're covering it with Shiba Inu. That's not the case. If they have Bitcoin, they're covering it with Bitcoin. If they have Ethereum, they're covering it with Ethereum. Whatever's on that platform, they're covering it with the actual coin. So that kind of nipped that in the butt. There was a lot of FUD on this live stream as well. As I was going through it, I was looking at it, I was just like, this is ridiculous, where they were like, lies, all lies, everything's lies. And I was, what the heck's happening there? They did talk about the 1 billion that was sent to FTX and how they recovered virtually all of it. 10 million was not recovered, but looking at 1 billion versus 10 million, you recovered majority of that, 99% of your overall position that is there. And let's see, they had another one that was talking about CRO for loans, and have you ever used CRO for loans? And they stated never use CRO as collateral. They actually have proven that they don't, because they burned 70 billion coins in the past. Burning 70 billion coins means that you are not loaning out any of your CRO to ridiculous places, and you're able to take that 70 billion and completely destroy it, because it can be freed. It's free, right? So that was a good point to have there. I'm trying to make this as quick as possible because I don't want to make this like a crazy long video. The next one was more assets. Do they have more assets than liabilities? And they talked about the audit that needs to be done on both, not only the assets, the proof of reserves, but then also the liabilities that come with it. Or that partner with it when you look on the balance sheet. So that's something that they need to explore to get that audit done as well, because liabilities are a big instance as well. But if they are talking about how they don't have, or they don't loan out or take on these aggressive loans, or any loans for that matter, then the liabilities are going to be generally low. The next one that was talked about was on advertisements. And a lot of people make us think about how much they spend on advertisements, seeing billions of dollars, or like $2 billion or something flow through, the crypto.com arena, and, whatever other deal they have. And he stated that, yes, it is an aggressive percentage that goes towards advertisement, because they wanted to get their name out there, and they made that decision to do so. And they've done it over 20 years for that crypto.com arena. And even though you're looking at like $1 billion, I think, or $2 billion or something, that's over 20 years. And that can equal like 100 million, per year, which could be way less than what you have in your overall revenue. So overall, they're looking at about 10% of revenues is advertisements, which is a little bit high compared to what you would expect, which is probably like less than 5%. But that's because they want to get their name out there, but they're not being aggressive to where it's 50% that's coming through revenue. The next one is 400 million moved in correctly. They talked about how, yes, it was moved in correctly, and they didn't blame anybody, but said that it would be corrected and would never happen again. Me thinking that means that the person that did that was probably fired or had a warning or something. But the good thing is that any money that they do send out is whitelisted, meaning that they would send it to a place that if they feel like it was the wrong place, they can get back. So they sent it to gate.io, and there was a discussion on if gate.io, you had to like beg them to send it back, and that's not the case. They could have asked them to send it back, but it was over their daily withdrawal limit. So they had to ask them to increase their daily withdrawal limits in order to do that. So ultimately, this overall AMA was very successful because he answered a lot of things and also answered that complicated question, which wasn't really complicated, with the proof of reserves being at 20% Shib, which people just don't understand what proof of reserves are. I saw this and I was questioning the hell out of it, and I was like, what is going on here? But I didn't have time to respond because I was enjoying family time, right? So next time I will just respond with a retweet. And I don't know how anybody else didn't say this. Actually, I lied. I did see a comment that said this, and I should have probably pressed like retweet on it, just because I couldn't type anything up, but I could have just easily selected retweet. But anyways, that's what we had. I don't believe CRO is going anywhere. I don't believe crypto.com is going anywhere. I believe they're strong, but we do still have to see all of the information there. And I'm not going to just say automatically that it's the best exchange in the world. I invest on two different exchanges, which is Coinbase and crypto.com. I believe those two are very, very strong, even though Coinbase did have some talks about bankruptcy, but I've never heard any talks until literally yesterday about bankruptcy. There were people that came on and, questioned it, but it was always nipped in the butt because it wasn't really an issue. They've taken all the steps in order to secure the fact that even though they have all these rewards and all of that stuff, all of these yields, they're able to, provide yields or dial back those yields, but still offer something as time goes on. They're the only ones that have done that. So in my opinion, crypto.com is pretty safe, but again, you never know what could happen in these bear markets. We could see an aggressive pullback in these bear markets, but he did state that it may have pushed us back a couple of like a year or two in seeing mass adoption of crypto because people are skeptical about it. So anyways, that's my review of it. Hopefully you enjoyed this. Let me know what you think about CRO. And, this was my quick and dirty breakdown versus the 1 hour breakdown of watching the live stream and commenting on it. But anyways, hit the like button, hit the subscribe button. And if you guys want to follow me on Patreon, feel free to follow me on Patreon or follow me on Twitter at Perry8K. But I'll catch you guys in the next video.